guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm going to be talking about the third film in the John Wick franchise, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. So John Wick 3 takes place immediately after the events of John Wick 2, with him being sent into excommunicado, everyone's hunting him down, and it's just pretty much a, for the most part, non-stop action thrill ride. Now I have to say, I really loved the first John Wick film. I still like the second one, but I really love the first one. And the series has gotten more and more ridiculous as it's gone on. The action's become so huge and crazy in these huge long fight scenes. It's come a long way since the first film. And for me, I personally liked that more subtle, direct, tight action. But I can see how people would really love this movie. It is a really, really fun movie. So if you're a big fan of action, you'll absolutely love this film. It has all this great action gunplay in it that you've become used to seeing in the John Wick films. The gun fu, as people would call it. I thought two of the fight scenes for me stood out really well, where one of the earlier scenes in the film where there's a knife fight that happens inside a museum. I thought that was some really cool, quick action with them fighting, throwing the knives. I thought that added a cool element. I've really seen a lot of films that have a lot of that kind of knife fight in it, and I thought that was an interesting way to take it with some really cool choreography. Another one was a scene that involved dogs and Halle Berry's character along with John Wick, and I thought that had some of the best gunfight in the movie. I thought that the dogs interacting with the gunfight, everything going on around, was so fast-paced and over the shoulder and switching back and forth between all the different people that were fighting, and it felt like John Wick. Like, this is the hallmark of this franchise, is really good gunfights, really quick, precise headshots, and just really satisfying action. I thought that really stood out, especially in that one scene in particular. The fight scenes do go on for a really long time, so if you are really into action fight scenes, and that's what you're going to see this movie for, because that's, I mean, honestly, that's why most people would see this movie. It does not disappoint. There is so much action, to the point where, for me, as someone who is not a humongous action fan, it is exhausting. Like, it's not even necessarily in a bad way, but watching these people fight for 15 minutes straight, it's daunting. And the fact that they were able to actually even pull it off is impressive in and of itself. Having these long, huge fight scenes, it's pretty impressive. Now, I will have to say, I have watched a lot of Eastern action movies, and I don't think that the hand-to-hand combat is as tight as some of those other films, even the ones being made today. But I'll have to say, the gunfights in it is top-notch. I think you don't get a more satisfying and better version of this kung fu with guns style than you do with John Wick. As for the plot, I thought it was semi-interesting. Like I said earlier in my review, I do really like the first John Wick. I like how it kept the greater lore of the John Wick universe, and everything with the high table and everything like that was kind of mysterious and you didn't really know. But this film digs more into the minutia of who's in charge, where they are, all the different ranks and organizations, and what people are in charge of and who has what power. And for me, I don't find that nearly as interesting. I don't find the lore as interesting. It's just the straight action. So those parts of the film didn't appeal to me, but if you're really big into the lore of John Wick and you love the secret societies and stuff like that, there's definitely a lot more in this one. One other thing that I've always liked about the John Wick films, and it's in this one as well, is just the style decisions when it comes to this neon-drenched, modern, industrial look with all the glass, and there's the scenes in this with mirrors, and just having that neon blue, futuristic yet modern, mixed with old stuff. The style of these films has always been really interesting, and it's been replicated a lot in recent years between Atomic Blonde and even Polar on Netflix. And this is like the original film for me that I was introduced into this modern, noir, neon style of action film. And I still love it. I still think it's great. So if I were to rate John Wick, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. I don't think it is quite as good as the first film in my opinion, but that's obviously just a style decision on my point. I think if you really like the second one, and if you like John Wick in general, you'll really enjoy this movie. If you love ridiculous, over-the-top action, you'll like it. This movie does really go for it in a lot of scenes, between the dogs, the horse fights, all that stuff. It throws everything at you, and it does it really well for the most part. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and let me know, where does this rank for John Wick films for you? Is it your favorite? Is it your least favorite? Put those comments down below, and see you guys next time.